Okay, on to the last part of this, which I'm just going to show you now how you can bring in vector graphics into this file. And you can simply just drop them in there, but I'm going to kind of show you a way that you can use those warp tools that we've been learning and create your own kind of mock-up. This is something that a bunch of people have asked me over the course of the semester to learn how to create mock-ups. So I just did this quick graphic of a design that can go on there, and again I just did it on a rectangle that was kind of similar proportion to what that pouch is. So I'm just going to copy that all over now, and I'm going to go in the folder and I'm going to paste it in there. Command C copies it, and Command V brings up the dialog box to paste. I always click Smart Object. You can add it to your library if you want. I kind of, I think it kind of just makes the files and my iCloud more polluted for, to add a design to my library. Adding certain things to your libraries, like shapes that you might use a lot, like if you designed like a burst or like a sparkle or something that might go on more than one design, then it can be helpful. But for me, when I'm dealing with designs, I never add it to my library. But again, Smart Object always, and I hit OK. And, I can move this around. You can see it's pretty close to the size of the structure. So that's OK. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to hit Return or Enter, and that will basically apply the changes there, or just, paste this in here because I didn't really change it. And I am going to make a nested smart object out of this because I do want to warp this. So just kind of repeating stuff we've been doing in Photoshop with nested smart objects. If I either right click on this layer or hold down Control and then click on this layer, I can change it to a smart object again. So it's kind of a vector smart object within an image smart object, or as we refer to in this class, a nested smart object. And now when I hit Command T, I can get my transform tools to come up. And if I right click or hold down Control and click in this area, again, anytime you hold down Control while you're within a transformation, it'll give you that little menu thing next to the arrow. And then when you click, it gives you options, and warp is the option I'm looking for. Now I can go in and I can just manually warp this, and I'm kind of just dragging the corners kind of close to the corners on here, and then you can move these handles to like adjust the edges in a little bit. If you really want to pull all these corners in, you can kind of pull all these corners a lot closer, and then just adjust everything kind of close to the edge, and don't go too far, because you'll see, like, if you go too far, it kind of just messes up the masking of it and picks up, well, in this case I have this kind of blue color behind it. But that's pretty good, and you can see what that does is it kind of gets the net weight to follow the curve a little bit, but then everything is kind of warped in a little bit too. Even this is kind of seemingly warping because the bottom is curved a little bit. It's kind of warping around that slight curve that might be on this pouch. And then I'm going to hit Enter or Return to apply that change. And then that's pretty simply how you can map your Illustrator artwork onto this. Now again, if I double click this, it's going to launch a separate window within Photoshop, which will be a large format .psb file. And within that window, that is the vector smart object that I collected from Illustrator. So if I double click that, I can go to, it launches a new window in Illustrator that's a smart object. And if I want to do like a line of these things, I can change the color to whatever I want. And if I save it, Command S, and then I go back to Photoshop, the image smart object will save it there. If I save this smart object window, then it will show there, and then I could save this as another file. Command Shift S, save it as version 2 or whatever, and now I have my two different color versions. And obviously you can change the type, you can change, anything you want in Illustration. You can change the whole design, or you could just have your designs ready and pre-copy them in and save them as new files. But that's, again, just a simple way to map Illustrator graphics into a structure that you've created for a template. And that's it for this part. And the next part, we will just try a new structure, just so you can see, a different structure, and starting with like a different background color from that structure. That's it for this part. Thanks.